Well, hello there. Okay, we've got quite a few people jumping on right now. How are you, everybody? Let us know that you can hear us if that's okay. We'll get rid of this slide.
Hello, everyone.
Everyone hear us okay? Let us know in the chat box if you can hear us. Hey, Anne, lovely to talk to you. Okay, Mick, have you turned off your phone as well today? Actually, mine's still not on silent, so I better put mine on silent. It is on silent now.
Oh, how did that stay on?
Oh,
Sorry
yeah,
about that.
sure, whatever.
There you go.
We are, we've had some technical difficulties today with our Wi-Fi. And then, so if we do drop out or anything today, don't worry, we'll keep going and we'll send you a recording. Lovely to hear from you, Damien and Alison.
Keep calm.
All right, Ash, you can hear us. That's great. Kat, that's great to hear.
Pick on my phone there and let's have a look.
Ian sent me an email, have you? All right, no comment from Damien. Okay. All right, well, we might get ready to roll because we have quite a few things that we want to be able to cover off today. For those of you joining us for the first time today on the webinar, this webinar is part of our online business hub. And the business hub is something that we created specifically in response to isolation and COVID-19 to be able to help lead business owners through these fairly unique circumstances. We're very aware that these have been quite stressful times for business owners.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody caught the Treasurer's report today and a fair bit today on, how industries have been affected and the number of people out of work at the moment. So this is our way of being able to make a positive difference in a challenging time. If you haven't joined the actual business hub yet, then what we'll do is we'll send a link tomorrow when we send out the recording. So it's free membership. It's our bid for COVID-19. You'll get these weekly webinars, but also regular email updates if we think that they're appropriate. We've got fact sheets and templates sitting in the hub at the moment. And we've also got the Facebook group. Now, can I just encourage people to really use that Facebook group if you need us or if you want to just pick anyone's brains, other business owners. It's not often that Mick and I are so often on social media like that and are able to be quite as responsive. So, take advantage of us. So, use us and abuse us. We're here to help at this time. So, not pretending to have all the answers. No one does at this particular time. But what we're wanting to at least be able to do is give you some perspective on the information that's coming out and also a bit of a framework to be able to work within at the moment. We've spent a lot of time over the past few weeks talking about the government stimulus.
JobKeeper especially.
Oh, wow. I think Mick doesn't drink for anybody who knows, but I think he's been almost driven to drink this past couple of weeks.
This is water, soon to be vodka.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, you're right. I should have bought my own glass of wine, shouldn't I? Oh, next one. Yeah, it should be a tradition that I drink wine on these.
Kind of wasn't worth it. She didn't get that.
So we've spent a lot of time on the government stimulus. I think we needed to. There were things that we thought were going to be really simple, or that were at least kind of promoted as being quite simple. Certainly haven't turned out that way. JobKeeper in particular has turned out to be incredibly complex with some pretty serious consequences if you get it wrong. So what I want to do today though, or what we want to do today, but mainly me, that I want to do with this, is switch gears a little bit and want to focus on the 6 things that we believe you should be looking at and planning around right now, pretty much in any time of crisis, but certainly at the moment they're very relevant. Now, for those of you who don't know my role in the business, I am a business growth expert. So where Mick does lots of numbers and works out what you need to make, I'm the one who helps you work out how to actually make it. So what are the strategies that need to be put in place? What are the areas you need to focus on to help you achieve your goals, your financial targets?
I reverse engineer the numbers to make sure you know what target you need to aim for and hit, and the KPIs you should be measuring to get those targets.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, Karen does the strategies.
That's right. Help you work out how to meet those KPIs. And I see I've got a number of my clients on the webinar today. So lovely to see you all. Look, when it comes to any negative situation or any situation with potentially negative circumstances when it comes to business. So Mick and I have a bit of a motto, and that is plan for the worst, but expect the best. Anyone who knows me well knows that I am a very positive person, very optimistic. But at a time like this, we do operate in what I think we might have mentioned before. We call paranoid optimism. It never hurts to at least plan for the worst. And I think that's probably the most important advice that we can give to business owners right now is to have a plan. Do not try and just wing through these circumstances. And that's what a lot of business owners have been doing. Obviously we meet with lots of them. We see lots of them, not just our own clients, but a lot of other business owners as well, both in Australia and overseas. We've got quite a network of business owners in Europe and the United States. And what we're seeing, though, is a lot of people just winging it at the moment. A lot of business owners with their heads in the sand, just hoping that things are going to change. Now, in times like these, where obviously the situation is reasonably out of anyone's control, your competitive edge is going to be your planning and then actually following that plan. So on the day that Victoria went into a state of emergency, Mick and I were actually in New South Wales at the time that Victoria went into a state of emergency, weren't we? Just over the border in Moama.
I think I started to grow my beard.
And I think that might have been when you started to grow that little bird's nest on the end of your face. But no, it's nice. It's soft.
We were in Moama.
We were
in a friend's wedding.
That's right. We had a friend's wedding in Moama. Lucky to obviously get to that. But what we did, even though we were on a break at the time, we sat down and we identified the 6 things that we believed business owners were going to need to focus on in this time. And really, it's as I said earlier, it's a time that the 6 things you need to focus on in any crisis. And so now seemed to be a good time to revisit it and identify those issues and then run through them with you as business owners. So I hope you've got your pens ready, because I'm going to give you the 6 areas right now, and then we'll give you a little bit of a blurb on what all those areas entail. So the first area, and look, I'm not even going to offer for somebody to guess this because it really is the most obvious one. The first area you really need to focus on in time of a crisis is cash flow, okay? Then you've got production, staff, existing clients. Then it's something that we like to call staying active. So you need to focus on staying active in your business. And no, I don't mean that you have to exercise or do jumping jacks or something like that. So we'll go into a little bit more detail shortly. And the final of the 6 things is being in control of your own personal state and your mindset. So we're going to talk about that today. But first, wait for it.
We have an update.
Yep. I knew we couldn't go a whole week without an update to JobKeeper. I was excited. I thought maybe we could do it, but apparently not. There is a recent update to JobKeeper which we do want to make you aware of. I know we've got some people on the call at the moment that this will impact. So Mick, can I throw to you now, and can you tell everybody a little bit about this latest JobKeeper update?
Yeah, so the bones of the system is still the same, but I think there was an anomaly in the system around, let's say, casual employees that were full-time students and working part-time or casually. They were going to get $750 a week. So there has been some.
Mick, do you want to just, I know, you're usually the loud one in our relationship.
Really. There has been some updates to those that are casual employees that are full-time students, and that's been critical because, if you've got a lot of full-time students on your payroll, that earn $100 or $200 a week, you're now paying them $750, and it's very hard to find that money for one, being reimbursed. And there's a lot of people saying that's very unfair that they jump in wage and potentially don't do anything for that money. So since the last...
For that extra money.
For that extra money, yeah. So since the last update, we've had not one, but 5 updates to the JobKeeper. The tax office has continually clarified things like the turnover test, and this one today around casual employees. So I want to cover that one because on the 1st of March 2020, you had to have been 16 years of age to get the JobKeeper. And if you answer yes to that, you now only get, if you are a full-time student and not independent, meaning you're not under the Social Security Act, or you're a full-time student and you're not independent, then you only get JobKeeper for 3 fortnights. So you only get it till the 10th of May. So basically there's been a new nomination form. Those that are frantically filling out nomination forms, assuming you want the deadline by Friday, there's been a new nomination form post the 10th of May if you have a 16-year-old that is independent and not a full-time student. And there's various rules around that as well, independence, which I won't go into today for the 6 things we want to cover. But you only get it for 3 weeks if you have a 16 or a casual employee, 16-year-old, 17-year-old employee. So I think that's been a sensible one. You know, my theory was maybe they wanted those people to spend money in the economy, which might have been true, but I think there's some common sense there. We've also had a lot of questions around, you know, once I qualify, do I have to keep qualifying? Which means once I drop my turnover by 30%, do I have to keep every month have my turnover drop by 30%?
No, we've had a lot of questions around that, and actually a really good question.
Yeah, and one's been a good one because they have 30 employees, and we are talking about $600,000 over the course of 6 months for a JobKeeper entitlement. And no, you don't have to retest under the current rules, and I was waiting for this to be clarified, but it hasn't yet.
Yet. But
you only have to pass the test once, and the tax office is saying you do the monthly declarations on your turnover, because I'll read this. They just want to, they're not retesting your eligibility. They're rather looking for an indication of how your business is progressing under the JobKeeper scheme.
So whether it's working or not.
Whether it's working or not. That's their public line.
Yeah.
So you don't have to retest. So I just want to clarify that. Once you pass the 30%, you pass it.
You've got it
You're entitled to the JobKeeper for up to the 6 months, yes.
And I'm probably a little bit less cynical than Mick is on that one. I think that it's really sensible for the government to be looking at whether this works, because if we're ever in a pandemic situation again or something that requires these kinds of measures, I think it's a really good idea for them to see whether the stimulus actually works, so that we can learn from that for the future, because like, quite frankly, our economy is going to take a massive hit over this. So, you know, they don't want it to be in vain. And if it is in vain, they don't want to do it again. So I'm probably a little bit less cynical than you there, but I do get what you're saying. And I'm certainly not saying that it's not going to change or there's not some sort of hidden agenda.
Yep, I think that's exactly why they're looking at it. There's been a question. The JobKeeper income is not regarded as income when you submit your turnover test. It is not, it's GST free, so it's not included in your GST inclusive sales. So therefore, when you submit your turnover test, you don't put JobKeeper in. So that's a good question. And one last one. JobKeeper is not assessable for payroll tax. So what that means, if you have to top up an employee, meaning they earn $500 and you're paying them $750 because you qualify, that $250 is not subject to payroll tax. So good luck on the bookkeeping for that one.
No, it's going to be fun.
And that starts July 1, because if your payroll is under $3 million until June 30 this financial year, you're actually not paying payroll tax. So July 1, good luck on that.
Yeah.
So now let's get into it. JobKeeper update.
All right. So that's JobKeeper update done. All right. So let's get into the 6 things. Now, What we're sort of planning with this is that we will run through these 6 things reasonably quickly, and then some of them though we're going to revisit, and particularly I think the first for cash flow, we'll do an entire webinar sort of drilling down a little bit deeper into the things that you can do there, as well as no doubt more JobKeeper updates. But I actually think, Mick, for cash flow, being our trusted accountant, maybe you can have a chat about what we're talking about when we're saying that people need to focus on their cash flow. But don't go into it too deep, because I think we will. I think this is something that people would love to know a lot more about.
Yeah, we'll do a whole session.
Yeah, so in the next couple of weeks we'll look at that.
It's obviously been critical for the first, I think you said today, 41 days of lockdown. Isolation. So I think, I've said it a couple of times, cash is like oxygen to a business. If you run out of cash, you die. So a business survival is dictated on how quickly you can address your cash flow problems or lack of oxygen until things get back to normal.
You love that little analogy, don't you?
Cash
and oxygen.
So what a lot of business owners are doing, and rightly so, is grabbing all the entitlements they're entitled to, all the ones we've talked about, and you can look at the recordings for those. But then they hope and pray after that the money will last. They don't do any planning around their cash flow situation, looking at their overheads, and they do make some knee-jerk reactions, especially around, in your area, marketing, when it's one of those things that you should consider continuing so you can really pull yourself out of this little crisis.
Yeah, we'll touch on that later, but I think what I'm hearing you say there too is that I guess all these stimulus packages, the entitlements, they're fantastic. It's great to have that, but what we're seeing a lot of is people not factoring in what that's going to actually mean for their business over the next 6 to 12 months. So they're sort of, getting it, or they're going to get it, they'll stick it in the account, and then they will just hope that the money lasts longer than isolation does.
I think on a couple of these webinars we've talked about what the bank, we did last time around, what the bank will require, and doing a cash flow forecast. So I probably won't go into that today, even though I want to go into a bit of it. But you've really got to be looking at some sort of forecast rather than being optimistic around the entitlements getting you through and relying on the entitlements too much to get you through, in case the pandemic lasts longer than we think.
And also, not even just getting you through, really, is it? I mean, there are some businesses where this will make a real difference, and and you don't want to waste that. You don't want to. You want to make the most of that opportunity.
You can use your team members that are on JobKeeper if you're on that. So
yeah,
you've got to really look at what does the entitlements do for you, and what will it mean for your business specifically, and how long till you run out of cash. You've really got to look at how long you can keep the doors open and when you might run out of cash. You've got to look at some decisions that you need to make to help the cash last longer. I mean, we've looked at a couple of bank applications, and they ask a lot of detailed questions around, what do you foresee on the pressure of your funding requirements, overdrafts? Have you updated your financial forecast to look at what the impact of the pandemic and corona is doing on your sales? And hopefully, if you have, let's say, dropped sales in April because you are getting JobKeeper from now on, then you can use that as a basis for forecasting forward at the very least. And as Karen says, plan for the best. What is it? Plan for the worst, but hope for the best. And
expect the best, not hope. Hope's not a strategy.
So if you start doing that and being perhaps pessimistic in your forecast, then you can really look at your cash flow. But you've got to look at your cash flow to make sure that the business can survive.
I think, you mentioned about decisions to be able to make, and this is what we're finding right now, and this has been really handy, is we're working with a business owner, and Mick will have worked with them to do some sort of cash flow forecasting. Then it helps me with the business owner to be able to say, okay, well, if we know this information, then we know what sort of strategies we need to focus on, or what we can do to best make sure that these things happen. Or if the situation is going to last longer than we anticipate, how do we make the money last as long as possible?
Yep. Get out on cash flow, get out your trusty spreadsheet. What you've really got to do is look at your, if you write this down, your cash flow drivers. You know, things like your debtor days, sales, your break-even point. You know, are your debtor days going out? Are your creditors, can you push your creditors out? Look at all those drivers that impact sales. Can you reduce overheads? Get the spreadsheet out and really have a look at how long your cash will last to ensure that you can at least keep the doors open, including all the entitlements past the end of the pandemic.
I think that, you know, the message that I probably want to get across with this too is that sometimes a cash flow forecast is looked at as a predictive tool. But one of the things that Nick and I are often saying is that actually your cash flow forecast is your best planning tool, because it's great to have those predictions, but you actually have to do something with that information. Whether the predictions are positive or negative, that's going to be what helps you to be able to make those decisions. So I think that's good for cash flow for now. We'll
got the other 5 areas to cover.
Yeah, there's so much we can say in that area, but let's leave that for this week. Do you want to now talk about production then, seeing how you just talked about cash flow?
So the second thing we need to focus on is production, which is what you need to be doing to closely monitor your sales and the pipeline of potential sales. And then you need to compare that to your cash flow forecast, because it's not enough to have it in the pipeline. You also need to know what you decide to do, and therefore how do you get more work in the door to ensure that that meets your cash flow forecast. What could you do to get more work? Are there other measures that you could put in place? It might be better in some instances focusing on your core product rather than trying to push other peripheral products that are tough to sell in this climate.
Yeah, can I jump in there? Because it may not even be a core product. It may be something on the peripheral that you have, but you're focusing on because it's a better climate for it right now. So I've got lots of clients that are doing this, that are in areas where being in isolation makes it really tough to do business. Den, I can see that you're on the webinar today. Den's a photographer, a family photographer. Now, it's kind of a little bit challenging to get families together in a park or something and take photos of them at the moment. It just can't happen. It's kind of not allowed, and lots of big fines. So one of the things that Den is focusing on instead is being able to help business owners like us, for example, with our online presence. And I know, Dan, you have been trying to give me some tips on how to reduce this blurriness on our video, and I thought I had it sorted, but it may be our connection. But doing work with business owners about using their social media photographs, being able to do things in videos, the importance of lighting, all those really important things that we don't necessarily know about, but she's fantastic with. I've got another client who's an interior designer. Again, kind of hard to go into people's houses at the moment to do some, design work for them. So she's actually offering right now virtual design meetings where she's actually helping people, because they're in isolation and in the house a lot more than usual, helping them to be able to style their home using things that they already have in their home. So, some great ideas. So, Ian, you're saying there sneeze guards instead of joinery. Okay, yeah, that's good. All right. Yeah, that's the sort of thinking. I'm doing a lot of work around that at the moment, is to help people unlock what it is that they could be doing at the moment.
No, and just on that, that's a good one. You go into a supermarket now, it's actually like a bank, but a bank isn't like a supermarket that used to be. They don't have guards everywhere. You go into the self-service, and it's like you're in a
yeah.
You've got guards all around you. So,
yeah.
When you're looking at production, for those that you have team members, you've got to plan and roster accordingly to minimise those overheads, the double time, the weekend shifts that cost you enormously. So you've got to really look at how you can minimise those costs and review your overall staffing requirements based on the sales forecast. So that's why we talk about a predictive tool, because it can help you really plan and minimise your overheads, especially those variable costs, as us accountants talk about. So you're going to potentially have to make some tough decisions, and you've probably already had to make some tough decisions.
Some people have, we know, on the call at the moment, that
around team and staff. So, you know, you want to make sure you do leave on good terms. I guess the JobKeeper is allowing you to keep some of those team members and maybe utilise them to help you grow your business. But you've got to start planning around that, around the production.
Do you think that was
and not winging it?
Exactly. You don't want to wing production. I was thinking about this today, actually. Do you think that that's one of the reasons why they made JobKeeper an all-in or none-in, so that there would be less people unemployed? So, or do you think it was more, okay, you cynical again?
I'm cynical again.
I should have bought some wine again. We should have made it a game.
I was thinking about this when I had my morning coffee. And
we are so sad that we think about these sorts of things.
So $550 at JobSeeker, sorry, you get $550 as a job seeker, you get $750 as a keeper. Guess what? The employer does all the work to get $750, and if you go to Centrelink on $550, Centrelink and the government have to do all the work. So that's my cynical point of view. But practically, you know, you also don't want to have, you know, you're unemployed on the resume. There's all those things. And realistically, what we've been saying is true. You know, if you're giving JobKeeper $1,500 a fortnight, you want to put those to good use. There's some really, all those projects we've talked about, you've been wanting to do, you can really think about doing if you've got people on the books getting $1,500 a fortnight. But yeah, I'm a bit more cynical.
Yeah, it's all right. It works. We balance each other out a little bit. So let's talk. The third thing to focus on is staff and team. Few people on the call with staff, few without. So the most important thing that I really can't stress enough here is communication, right? They are as worried and as nervous as you are, if not more, because they will at least feel that you as the business owner have an element of control that they don't. And maybe as a business owner, you may feel that you have more to lose than they do if the business goes belly up, but that's certainly not how they see it. So whenever there is an announcement made by the government about isolation or, you know, business shutdown or JobKeeper, things like that, it's really important that you take the time to explain how that affects the team. You want to make sure that you just stay as calm and positive as possible. Now, that doesn't mean you have to hide things from your team, but just be mindful of how you deliver news to them, because, yeah, as I said before, they're feeling quite out of control in this. I really feel, and Mick, we talked about this, and I think you agreed with me on this, that it's actually a really great, I think there's a lot of great opportunities that are coming out of isolation, and that's something else we should be focusing on. But one of the terrific opportunities is being able to step up as a leader, to really lead with care and be able to show them that you care. If you can lead them powerfully through something like this, that is going to be something that they are going to definitely remember, right? This crisis is going to pass. The problem we have is we don't know how long it's going to last, and we have to be able to develop a plan assuming it's, you know, going to last at least another 6 months. But as a leader, you have to do those plans and then explain them to your team. You have to make tough choices sometimes, and you also have to sometimes have some really candid conversations. Be across all your employment rules, right? So, you know, Fair Work are updating their fact sheets constantly. You know, in the beginning, it was pretty much weekly, right? Be informed. Now, we have some fact sheets if you want some information, but it's really critical that you understand your rights and your obligations. So, you know, just as an example, I was speaking to somebody yesterday who didn't realise that because they've got their team working from home, that their liability still extends to home to provide a safe workspace. So, for example, if you've got team members working from home at the moment, did you get them to fill out a questionnaire and send you photos to show you their workspace? If you didn't and you need a questionnaire, just let us know in the Facebook page, and I'll email one out to you, or contact me at support@Hendry, not support at Hendry, I'm Karen. c.hendry@hendry.com.au, and I'll get you a copy. But it is a great time to have your HR expert on hand. If you don't have someone, if you're not in-house or you're not outsourcing and you do need a referral, again, email me at c.hendry@hendry.com.au. I'm happy to recommend somebody who's been absolute gold for us. So again, make sure you communicate.
Mhm.
All right, the fourth thing that I said you want to be considering and looking at the moment is your existing clients or customers. So they definitely need to be a focus. And that might sound like a Captain Obvious, but I've been surprised at how many people will say that they know that that's the case, but aren't actually doing anything about it. So you do need to, again, it comes back to this communication again, be communicating with your clients. But please, no more emails specifically about COVID-19, right? It's funny, I got an email, I must have said this a few times, because I did get we're out, are we back on? Let's have a look. Can you just, I've got other modems over there. Can somebody let us know if we're still here? Oh, we've dropped out. Do you want to go and just check the modem quickly? Just make sure that it's working. Yeah. Just turn the kitchen light on, maybe. All right. Oh, no, don't turn those on, Mick. Sorry. Can anybody hear us, or have we completely dropped out? Okay. Well, what we're going to do is we'll keep going, because oh, you can hear us now? That's great. I was going to say we'll keep going. I think maybe try the lights, see how we go, Mick, see if that helps us a little bit. And Den will hate it because they're the other side. Yes. Oh no, now I look like a mollygrub. Okay. All right. So I've just heard the audio's been a bit choppy. We have definitely had trouble with our connection today. So we will send a recording. All right. All right, so what we're talking about, don't send any more emails telling people about what coronavirus is or how to avoid it. We can all Google that information now if we don't know it already. I did have one of my clients, Steve, I don't know if you're on the webinar at the moment, but he sent me an email the other day with the heading saying, this email has nothing to do with COVID-19. But what people do want to know is, as far as COVID-19 is concerned in your business, what does that mean for them? What is it that you are doing specifically or differently during this time that's going to make a difference in their lives? So maybe that is some reassurance about their health and safety while you're working with them. It may be special offers that you have.
Can I jump in? I think there's a lot of people that are holding off doing things at the moment for confidence. And there's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of money sitting in the bank. So you should be consider giving them incentives.
Yeah, so we'll come to that. Don't steal my thunder. But no, it's so true.
Cool.
But yeah, it's
taking action now.
Yeah, absolutely. So how could they be taking advantage of the timing? Obviously offering clients remote meetings or virtual meetings if you can. I know that a lot of you are already doing this. Even if you're still operating from your premises, a lot of people would still like the option. So, to just be able to at least offer that to them and communicate with those clients about any current jobs that are that are on this. So sorry, Mick, you were saying too, and I get what you were saying now. I misunderstood. So you're saying that there's
a lot of people that are a bit uncertain around what's going on, obviously, but they do have, there's a lot of businesses with money in the bank still looking to invest, spend, and take up any offers that really interest them. So you should be considering incentives to get them to take action now, rather than hoping that, assuming more to the point that people aren't interested or they're lacking confidence or they don't have the confidence, rather than just waiting. There's a lot of people that are really just looking for the right incentive given these times, and it has to be profitable for you, of course, to make that purchase. So you've got to look at how you position your product or service.
So yeah, I think that could be, I do like that. I think that's a great point, Nick. And, it could be a discount or giving them something extra with their purchase, or even, as Nick just said, positioning things so they understand why it's in their best interest to act now rather than later. I call this the get off the couch principle. What is it that you could do now that would move people out of inertia? Because a lot of people are just not doing anything because of uncertainty. But, if you can give them some certainty with maybe a discount or something extra or some payment terms or something like that, then that is going to be enough incentive for a lot of people to actually not wait.
And I think as the JobKeeper direct deposits to businesses' bank accounts start rolling in, I'm pretty sure Mr. Harvey Norman will start promoting, got your JobKeeper money, start spending. So
absolutely.
Start looking out for the ads. So, it's like Mother's Day. There's always those ads around that. So you've got to give them an incentive.
Yeah. And
the money in the bank account coming in from JobKeeper could be just the trick. So you've got to be there at the right time too.
At the end of the day, I think you want to make sure that during this time, you're nurturing your existing clients and showing them that you do care. And you should even be helping your clients understand why they possibly need you now more than ever, right? Don't make them try and draw the line between the timing and your value. Make it really obvious for them. So the fifth, number 5, we talked about staying active, right? And by that, I'm not talking about exercise as such, although, that's a good thing. So we've mentioned a few times, though, that most of your competitors in business are going to have their head in the sand right now, right? They'll just be doing the same thing. They won't be planning. They'll be hoping for things to get better. And what you need to be doing is the opposite, right? You want to be active. You want to be creative. You want to be focused. And as much as you might feel like sitting around watching Netflix in your tracksuit pants, you just can't, right? There is a saying that dynasties are made from tough times. In fact, that's one of your favourite sayings. Yeah, you love that saying, right?
People still need help in these tough times, possibly even more than ever, depending on the industry. Take JobKeeper, for example. They've needed a lot of help to navigate that. So as we mentioned earlier, a lot of business owners right now are putting their head in the sand and blaming the situation. But if you can improve someone's business,
or improve their life,
you're going to be at the forefront. Yeah. So it might, on the contrary, this might be the time you get your biggest win or your biggest client, because you are out there, you're being proactive, you're getting out of them in front of them as opposed to their existing supplier. So what you don't want to do is go quiet. What you don't want to do is cut that marketing budget according to your cash flow forecasts. You want to be marketing yourself as much as ever, if not more. So when we do come out, you're there and you are shown to show some value through these times. So even if you're not getting the work right now, you've got to do whatever it takes to put yourself in that position when it does turn around, and it always does.
And look, this is something I'm particularly passionate about, right? And this is what I've been working with pretty much all my clients at the moment, where it's being first in line. When those doors are thrown open again, right? You want to be first in line. You want to be the person that people, when they say, okay, I want to start doing these things, that it's you that they come to, right? So my clients know right now that even if they don't have any income coming in, they have to still get up every day and work on the business in preparation for when we come out of isolation. And yeah,
that's exactly right. People should be at the very least working on their business, shouldn't they?
Absolutely, right? Staying active in the business, preparing for when things. Here we are. We're back. All right, we are back. So sorry, guys, that was us. We just dropped out. As I mentioned, we will make sure that you get a recording of this tomorrow. So, yeah, apologies, but let's keep moving on because I am conscious that we have only a few minutes left and want to get through these last areas. So you recall we were talking about being prepared for when things turn around again. This is a great time to get systems in place, improve your processes, get automated, all those things. The technology gods hate me. All right, we're going to try again. So what I was saying was that we need to prepare for when things turn around again. Time to get your systems in place, improve your processes, get automated, do all the things you've been wanting to do, but haven't been able to move them from important to urgent. This is the time, and you will kick yourself if you don't do them. All right, so luckily we are on to our final step that we want you to be focusing on in a time of crisis. So I mentioned before around it's being in control of your personal state and your mindset. So this
You're big on this.
Yeah, look, I think it's really important. And even when I said it's been 41 days in isolation for us, I am a very positive person. It takes a lot to get me down, but today I did feel quite flat over this whole isolation thing. I was just completely over it. So I did go for a nice big walk, because I know how important it is to be in control of your personal state. But it's not always easy as we spend longer and longer in isolation. But here's the thing, what you focus on is what you feel. So you need to choose what you focus on. That doesn't mean it's not happening. It doesn't mean you're being naive, but like we said earlier, prepare for the worst and expect the best. Nothing is actually gained, and this is what I was telling myself today, nothing is gained by being miserable. Being happy in a time like this doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you resilient. So, make sure that you keep things in perspective, and that, there may be even times, we said to our team today, there's some beautiful sunshine at the moment. You've been in isolation. We may only get a few days of sunshine for the next few weeks. If you need to, just go out, get a walk, get some sunshine, even if that means that, you make some time up later or, whatever, but you've got to look after your own well-being. Be very mindful of what you listen to, watch and read. Of course, you've got to deal with what's in front of you. I'm not saying that it's not even happening. Of course,
through rose-coloured glasses.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it is happening. So, we want to make sure that that you can, that you're still addressing those issues, but don't focus on the negative too much. Yeah, don't dwell on it. See what you can do. Yeah.
So there you go. That's pretty much a wrap from us. Hope today's webinar has been valuable, even with our technology challenges. Hopefully you've got all that and got some important information from us to really help us and help you focus on what you need to do, those 6 key areas in isolation as we grapple with the coronavirus to help you grow your business.
Yeah, look, thanks for joining us. We have got a fact sheet that we've written on this topic. So, Catherine, can I get you to upload that to the Business Hub if you wouldn't mind? So yeah, just jump on and you can grab a copy of that, and feel free to pass that on to other people as well. As we said, we want to help people through this. So we're not being precious about intellectual property or anything like that at the moment. If you can help another business owner by passing that on, you have our blessing to do that. And Catherine's just let me know that it is in the hub at the moment. Look, these are tough times, and few businesses will get through this unscathed, but we want to be better businesses on the other side of this, no matter what. So we'll drill down on a few of these topics in more detail as we go along over the coming weeks.
We've made some great changes in our business ready for when we go back, haven't we? I think that's something we could talk about. Just some efficiency gains and some technology we've implemented as a result of this. So, it's forced, but that's what you do. You make the most of the opportunities or the challenges put in front of you so that you do go back a better business.
Yeah. So, important thing to know, though, especially for those of you who are part of our online Business Hub community, you are not on your own through this. We are here if you need us. We've got the webinar next week. You've got your fact sheets in the hub. You've got your Facebook page, and we really look forward to continuing to lead you through these tough times. And yeah, as Mick says, make sure that you're a better business on the other side of it. Have a wonderful evening. Hopefully next week we won't have these internet challenges. Oh, Den, you're focusing on items 4, 5 and 6 at the moment. Yes, love to hear that. And yeah, we look forward to seeing everybody next week, but please put any questions or just, just say hi to us in the Facebook page. That'd be great.
And say happy birthday to me on Thursday. I'm feeling lonely.
That's right. Mick has his birthday in isolation on Thursday. So
that's why I'm wearing the old hat. I'm turning old.
Yeah,
turning old? Is that a number?
We'll go with it.
Okay, thanks.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care, and thank you very much.
Thanks,
that's awesome.
You forget.
All right,
Get on
thank
Facebook,
you. See you later, guys. Bye.